welcome to today's video. This is our home. It's a startup home and it's fairly small.
It's 1,500 square feet.
It's small for most people, but it's just the two of us. So it's a 3-bedroom house, and while sometimes I get kind of in this funk that I say I need more space because of what we do for a living, we have a lot of tools everywhere. Then I start thinking about it, and you know what? It's plenty of space. I even considered living in a tiny home before, and I was trying to talk Corey into it. I don't think he appreciated that thought. He's about 6 feet tall, so a tiny home didn't seem like a good idea for him. But anyway, that got me thinking into the fact that if I even consider a tiny home, how could I live there if I can't even make this space work? So we decided to make it a little bit more efficient, and luckily Corey is really good at this stuff. So,
well, it's up to interpretation,
But he grew up, you know, his dad is a contractor and his brother does that as well, and he's also an electrician. So Corey grew up doing this stuff, and although he doesn't like to say that he is well, you're not a contractor, but he knows a lot of the things that needs to be done. And when we don't know something, we'll usually call an adult to ask for help.
Adults are great.
Adults are great. It's usually his dad, his mom, or his brother that we call for advice, and then we'll do whatever we need to do. So we have a lot of tools that we have inherited. And
all of my tools, I think aside from one or two, are all hand-me-down tools.
And pretty much everything in our house is hand-me-down. You know, we bought a few things here and there brand new, but it's mostly hand-me-downs and things that we've built ourselves. So we're very proud of it. And anyway, enough rambling. We wanted to show you guys how we converted, how we added some more shelving into our house to accommodate for all the pint glasses that we have.
Yes. Yes, all the ones we have left. We got rid of 3/4 of them.
Right. So we've both been in the beer industry, and so we started collecting a lot of beer glasses, and so we got to the point that we had like 3 dozen of pint glasses out at all times, and little by little we've been trying to shrink down that collection and only keep as many as we need to get rid of some of the clutter, but we still needed space to put the stuff, so we decided to build these open shelves. And we consider cabinets. We felt that may make the space feel even smaller because they're all bulky and whatnot. So what would you say, 2 days to complete it?
2 days to well, yeah, because you got to let the sealer dry, so you probably want to give it 2 days if you're going to attempt something like this.
Right, and it was fairly easy. What would you say, beginner? No, probably intermediate.
Well, if you can find the wine rack to buy, then it's a beginner project. But if you have to make all of that, you know, you're going to have to do a little bit of work on the table saw, and it's going to take a little more time. So
Right. So I guess you definitely need power tools for this one, unless, like he said, you can buy the racks. Or you buy pre-made shelves at Home Depot. I think they sell those. They're like about 1 inch thick, and they're already pre-made and pre-painted. So you can go that route. I bought some of those for my work, and I did the same thing. I bought the wine racks already made and the shelves already made. They're just not as nice. So we wanted something a little bit more natural, and that went with our decor. Our house is painted in this kind of green color, so we didn't want anything that would be too clashy, and we wanted something a little bit more natural and easier to make. So we hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll see you at the end.
okay, bye.
So that's not too expensive.
So we're just looking down the edge to make sure it's not curved.
Can you tell? Let's see. That looks straight from here.
Right, so then you look at it this way to make sure it's not bowing
Okay.
or cupping.
It's hard to tell in the camera, but that's a good tip.
It's easier to look down than it is to look up.
Oh. Yeah.
And you want to look for knots and grains. You know, most of the time you don't want that stuff, but when it comes to staining, people tend to like it.
Yeah, gives it character. What about this guy?
This guy, I assessed him, and since we're going to be taking about 1 inch off, we're going to pretty much cut him off.
Okay.
So the other side looks good.
Okay.
And then he's going to be against the wall, so he shouldn't be seen.
Okay.
So you can pick the terrible lumber that's left over if you have to. I didn't pick him because he is very bowed. I don't know if you can look over here. See how he dips down in the middle?
Oh wow, yeah, I see it. Huh.
So that could put our shelf in a bind whenever we put it on racks.
Probably wouldn't have noticed it if we hadn't done that. Looks perfectly fine from up here.
Well, you can see it's not sitting flat.
Yeah, I guess that's a good tip too.
Silly me, forgot to turn off the music while I recorded this video. So everything that it looks like I'm saying, you cannot actually hear. So I'm going to tell you what I am saying. I was saying you need your tape measure, your pencil, and a circular saw, and we're going to cut these 2x12s to length. I don't remember what the length was, but whatever space that you're measuring, that's what you want to cut it to. You want to look on both sides of the 2x12 to see which side you prefer. There might be a side that when you look at it, you like the wood grain, the knotting, and the color of the board more than another side. So you just want to inspect it and kind of make sure that's how you're going to judge which end to cut off.
And in our case, you can only see the edges, so it really didn't matter all that much, but it's a good practice.
We're going to set the circular saw depth. You lift up that shield and then you drop down the saw to where the blade is just barely going past the bottom of your board. And then you set the height.
Why do you just barely go over?
Just barely, so you don't potentially cut anything underneath it, like the sawhorses, or let's say you're working on a surface, that you can't cut, but that's the only space you have to cut.
Okay.
See how I cheat with my circular saw?
Yeah.
On a right-handed saw, the blade's on the other side.
Seems so silly.
We're supposed to use two hands on it. I'm going to start working on the wine racks that are going to be hanging underneath the 2x12s. I happen to have a piece of scrap 1x4 to set my blade height, so I don't have to lug around that 6-foot piece. So what we're going to do is we're just going to raise the blade up. Again, this is unplugged. So we're going to raise the blade up. And we want it to just come past the 1x4 just a little bit. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's coming up just a little bit past it. And since it is a 1x6, it's actually 5.5 inches, and half of 5.5 is 2 3/4. So we are going to make our gap 2 inches, 2 3/4 inches. And the reason I'm checking the front and the back of the blade is because this fence kind of likes to get cockeyed, and I just want to make sure it's accurate. So I check the front of the blade and the back of the blade. And now we're ready to rip it down. And it's just a simple 1x6 from Home Depot. And nothing special about it. It's knotty. It's the cheap one. I think it costs $7. Got my earplugs. And my safety glasses.
If the moon ignored the sun, then our tangled waves come undone. But if the moon falls,
We'll cut them to length 10.5 inches. Setting up a jig on my miter saw so I can cut them all equally without having to measure every one. Now we're going to determine where to make our notches in our wine glass holders. I'm marking half of 2 3/4 inches, which is the width of the block of wood.
So it's like an inverted T.
Yes.
Right here, and you're cutting this vertical.
So now I'm going to make my horizontal cut, and on the right you can see, my horizontal cut is where the green arrow is, And on the right, you can see me setting up my fence, which is the device that you are going to be cutting your wood alongside. It prevents it, it acts like a wall. So you can have a straight edge whenever you're making your cuts. And I'm measuring the back and the front of the blade because my fence likes to pivot in the middle. So I just want to make sure that I got equal distance. Setting my blade height right now.
And you want to set it halfway, right?
Yeah, about
Almost.
halfway. You don't want it to poke through the top.
Right, because you'll cut the entire piece if you do that. So
Yes.
you want to just go halfway.
And then flip it around and make the same cut on the other side. And that's what it should look like once you've done one full pass. Now I'm going to make my vertical cut. What you see is the green arrow on your left. So we're basically going to adjust the fence some more to accommodate for the thickness of the wood, and then we have to adjust the height the same way. And we want the blade marks to intersect so it doesn't leave a lip.
Right.
And that's what it should look like once you're done. See, we got a little bit of a lip.
So that's my favorite pastime, sanding. There was plenty of that done on this project, but you want to make sure you end up with a smooth surface so it looks better.
So the top shelf is actually what we originally created, but that ended up looking so bulky that we actually had two of them up there where the white shelf is, but the top cedar one was actually really bulky, so this is a time-lapse video of us.
And we tested the white
Taking it
one.
down.
We tested the white one to see if we wanted to paint it white as well. So what are you doing?
Since we took down the old shelves, it peeled the texture off of the wall, and since this is a stomp texture and I happen to have a stomp brush, and I already happen to have texture mixed up
From what? It comes
from a different job. No, I just had it watered down to the right consistency, so I just busted it out, and now I'm dabbing it on there. And all you do is it's a stomp brush, and so you just dab your mud on there, and you don't want to make it too flat. You want it to kind of pull off a little bit. So
Right.
if you get close, you'll see it. When it dries, it'll all be in unison, and you want to go a little bit more than the areas that you're working on, so that way it all blends in real nice.
That one looks heavy.
Well, we're gonna work him out.
Okay.
So you just keep on going over him.
So let me get a close up of the hole.
What hole?
This one right
There's
here.
no hole. You can't see nothing. Then I didn't do my job, did I?
So that's what he's trying to cover up. If you see that little outline right here, that's where the hole was. So by putting extra texture there, that should blend in really nicely. Plus, I'm sure it's gonna get mostly covered by the new shelves.
Right there. Look.
Let me see. What hole? Look at that. I mean, I can see it because I know where it is.
Once
but
it's painted, you won't see
right,
any.
right. Cool. So now it's freshly painted, and you're measuring where you're gonna put the brackets, right?
Yes, I'm looking for the studs.
Oh yeah, since we have a lot of pint glasses and glassware, this is gonna be a heavy shelf, and the shelf itself was already heavy, right? So you definitely want to be on the studs.
I'm looking for the studs, and then I see my blue level over there. That's my 4-foot level. He's gonna help me stay honest.
What kind of screws did you use to screw this?
I used 1/4 inch by 3 inch lag bolts.
3 inch. That's pretty long.
Yeah, but if you're into a stud, and we're putting a lot of glasses and bowls on here, so that's what you want.
So you want something a really long screw to help you get more leverage. Right?
Oh yeah, hello.
So we were just testing where we wanted the next shelf to go.
I used my level, and where we measured, I just attached the brackets because I already found the stud on the bottom one, so I just used my level to make sure I had a straight edge all the way up and that I was in the same spot. And I just pre-drilled my holes and put my lag bolts in. Easy as chai pie.
Chai pie. I don't think I've ever made chai pie. And here you see me sharpening the bolts. We forgot to spray paint them, so I figured just the ones that we show through I will Sharpie so you couldn't see them. The other ones will be covered by the shelf itself. I think it worked out just great. Don't tell anybody.
Now here I'm dry fitting the shelves. I actually ended up tracing the bottom brackets right there, and that's where we're going to install our wine rack holders.
by night, then I
If you break that glass, we're gonna have some words, okay? We're gonna have some words.
How do you read this fraction system? So after I struggled trying to figure out how to read the fractions, not read them, but like adding them all up, I added all the pieces together plus the space in between using my wine glass as a template. So after I added all that, figure out where I wanted my end pieces to be, I went ahead and started nailing all of them. But I definitely struggled with these fractions. And the speed square definitely came in handy to keep me straight. I don't think I've ever used one before.
You did good.
I struggled a little bit with the nail gun, but I finally got it, and it was a piece of cake or a piece of chai pie.
Chai pie. Look at that. Nice, round.
And so we're moving on to spraying. And you chose to go with shellac over polyurethane or polyacrylic on this one.
Yes.
Is there a reason why?
It's a lot shinier, and it was easier to spray.
And that's what we had on hand. We
And
had a
that's
whole
what we
gallon,
had on
right?
hand. Yeah, you see it darkening up as we were spraying.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So now I am cleaning this. I'm sorry for the change in lighting, but there was a little bit of debris left on the
My
countertop.
bad.
So I sanded that off. It probably needed to be sanded too. Every once in a while, you need to do that to your countertops and condition them. So I did a 150 grit, and then I went down to 220 to make sure I had a smooth surface. And then most of it came off, but I didn't mind a little bit of character left. So after that, you'll see me start putting some oil on it to let it cure.
wait for our bodies won't die. They'll say where.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna use. It is cutting board oil. And I'm gonna read the directions here, and it says, use a clean cloth and apply in the direction of the wood grain. Let it soak for at least 20 minutes and wipe off any excess. So I'm just gonna apply it directly onto the cutting board. So usually you don't want to do that because you don't want it to leave a line, for example, but it's just oil. So you just want to rub it in and let it sit for like 20 minutes, and then if you need to apply more, go ahead and apply more.
And wipe off the excess.
So can you tell the difference between the parts that I put oil on and the parts that I haven't yet? Okay, I think that looks good. I might have to apply another coat, but I'll show you guys that later. One last thing, I have here some paint to touch up these areas.
Fun fact, Blanca painted the whole house with that brush.
Had a hell of a time. Now the final touches is to put everything back. Everything started to come together. We ended up with a little bit less pint glasses that we started with, but that's okay. We need to get rid of some of the clutter. So hopefully this helps us stay organized and clean. It's a small space, but I think that is plenty for what we need.
Yeah, it looks great too. It was very low cost.
How much would you say was spent for the whole thing?
The whole thing, maybe $50.
Well, actually, the brackets were quite pricey.
Oh, you're right.
But
You're
you can
right.
find cheaper ones at Home Depot or Lowe's. And here it is. This is how it came out. This is a picture I took with flash, so it looks a little bit brighter, but it came out really pretty. We are definitely happy with the whole project. Alright guys, that is it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun building it.
A lot. Babe, how many 16 are in it?
I know that. It's just adding them that gets tricky whenever I had to add all of the portions. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave them below. And don't forget to follow and subscribe at Catalina's Dainty Designs. We are on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram for now. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Was that you living in someone else's dreams?